Welcome to Dog Explaining, where we break down what your dog is really trying to tell you. I'm Dana, a canine coach and holistic wellness specialist focused on nutrition, energy work, and essential oils. I'm on a mission for your dog to eat better, feel better, and live longer.
And I'm Angela. I'm your 456 wellness and behavior coach, focusing on helping you understand the connection between 4 paws, 5 elements, and 6 fun tricks.
We're here to help you connect the dots behavior, food, health, and everything in between with honest conversations and straight talking guidance.
If you're ready to get past the noise and actually understand your dog's needs, you need to know you're in the right place. Oh, I did that wrong. Let me start over. If you're ready to
Hello, everybody. It's Dana and Angelina. Well, Angela. Don't really want to confuse your name.
I have lots of names. That at least that's one of the more pleasant ones.
I know people say things they get my name wrong. I'm like, it's okay. I've been called worse.
Yep.
So
Sometimes I wonder what the dogs think my name is too.
yeah. So today we're going to be talking about the role of nutrition in behavior, and we'll just kind of see where that leads us. But as I think about you with all the dogs you have for boarding on the holidays, I imagine there's a fair amount of transition, maybe dogs who have anxiety that they're not home or being in a kennel with other dogs. And you know how do we think nutrition plays a role in those types of things?
In everything. And speaking of like dogs being here boarding, everybody comes in on a variety of different foods, and of course the dogs that are eating like really healthy raw stuff, they see kibble and they're like, oh, that looks good and fun, so they want the kibble.
Right.
Thankfully everybody eats in their crates and we don't share food. But that is always a concern of mine too, somebody drops some food on the floor and you go eat kibble and now you're having stomach issues and, all the good stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know this isn't directly related to behavior, but I often recommend to people that we do like some sort of detox diet, a liver diet, and I'd recommend that for aggression cases, anxiety cases, and so on. Or sometimes just because we're detoxing from years of kibble and vaccines and flea and tick and all of those things.
Yeah.
And they worry about the transition, and I'm like, once we get the gut healthy, then I don't worry about transitions between ingredients anymore in the
Yeah.
same way that we tend to think about, oh my God, I've just experienced junk food, or I'm switching kibble, and then all the drama that ensues following those changes.
Now, for my training dogs, the dogs that come to board and train, most of the time there is some either a detox or a food change. I offer to do it while they're here. If you're worried about an upset stomach or anything like that, I'll do it while they're here, gladly. But almost always there's at least a detox when they come in because the majority of them have never had any type of detox before they have come to see me.
I know a lot of trainers who do like board and train type programs, that if you're going to go through that program, it's a requirement to switch foods or to be fed what that trainer feeds during the time that they're there. I never had the cojones to do that. I should
Yeah. I don't know if I do either. And I don't want to spend the time and energy to transition a dog to something while they're here and then send them home and they just go right back to the old stuff
right,
either.
exactly.
Because sadly, we're never going to get everybody on board with good, healthy, whole food diets.
I wish we would. Wish we could.
I heard a statistic somewhere, and I don't know how valid this statistic is, but it was It was on the Inside Scoop, and they were saying that today it's closer to 60% of people have switched off of kibble and are either doing like some type of freeze dried or dehydrated or raw feeding now versus kibble. That seemed high to me, which I'm was glad to hear it. I hope it's true.
Hmm. Well, there's so much marketing now around farmer's dog and so many
Yeah.
days, and then it just ticks me off to no end to go on scrolling through TikTok or the reels, and you see some influencer who knows nothing about a dang dog trying to market some product, and it works. I mean, they make lots of money off of it, and then here you and I are talking about the real reasons why, and it's like
Yep.
hear what they say.
Yep. We don't have the pull that Farmer's Dog does. I mean, I'll give them credit. They have incredible marketing.
Absolutely. I mean, I see those commercials on TV all the time. And interestingly enough, one of the things we hear talking about the role of behavior is that dogs start acting young again,
Hmm. Yeah, they
right?
feel better.
Exactly. And so that is a behavioral change.
But people don't think about that. They don't
Right.
think about the fact
They
that
may
changing
not
the
know.
food reduced inflammation and my dog feels better every day. They don't just feel better because you fed them a new food. Like there's all sorts of things that are happening in the body when you get them on a good
Exactly. And yes, weight loss
diet.
can certainly drive their energy level and activity level and that sort of thing. But it's not just the fact that they lost the weight, they lost um, inflammatory processed foods, right? So,
Mhm.
I mean, we have to give at least some credit to Farmer's Dog that it's far less processed than kibble ever thought about being, but it's still full of a lot of synthetic
Yeah.
vitamins and mineral type ingredients. And so you're only going to get so far in the healing process and in the longevity process before those synthetics don't hold up anymore.
Yeah. Yep. I know that in the past you've done some cost analysis on different types of food. Have you done that recently?
I haven't done a lot recently, but what I have done is all documented in the community forum where I do brand reviews,
Yeah.
and it'll talk in there a little bit about, for feeding an average 25-pound dog or 50-pound dog, it should cost you X number of dollars a month, or that sort of thing. So yeah, that's there. I haven't done graphics of anything side by side.
Yeah. I know that since COVID and since prices on everything have gone up, like even like kibble's not cheap anymore. Like I don't even think it's the cheapest route anymore. I think there are better options now than kibble that are more affordable than they ever were.
Yeah. Well, I mean, take aside walking in the PetSmart. If you walk in your vet's office and they want to sell you Science Diet or Royal Canin, you are paying a lot of money for that food.
Yes. And you're not getting what you pay for.
Right.
You're not getting the value, I promise.
Right. I mean, I have people tell me all the time, I just bought this crazy expensive food and it's crap.
Yep.
Because once you teach them to read the label and understand what's actually happening, um, it may be suppressing symptoms, right, of certain things, but it's definitely not putting you on the path to healing those issues, in my educated opinion.
Yeah. I don't have an educated opinion, but I agree.
You yeah, we all got some.
You've got the certificates to prove it.
So, yeah. Anyway, so I mean, I can always talk about a couple behavior cases that I've seen, but you probably have more recent issues since you do so much boarding. Do you have a dramatic story?
I'm sure I do. Tell what you we'll let you start and I will think of which story I'm going to tell while you're sharing with us.
Um, I mean, I can always tell the story of Bentley, right? But there are many others. I had one not long ago. here, so Bentley happened years ago. He was the turning point for me to get into all this traditional Chinese medicine and food and how it affects the body and all that kind of stuff. And his story's out on my website if anybody wants to go read it. But I had a client not long ago. Their dog was showing a lot of reactivity, right? Having a difficult time walking the dog without her blowing up and losing her mind and all of those kinds of things. And so when I get a questionnaire, there's a purpose for every question that I have asked, right? It's not just me collecting information, making you fill out busy work, because I'm going to find clues in a lot of that information. And so they started talking about reactivity and the dog's training. And that's how I get a lot of these phone calls. But most people who call me about training are not in the mindset of food. It has not connected, that these two things could be related. Well, this particular dog was not eating healthy food. She was just grumpy, right? So that exacerbated the behavior that she had when they were out on the walk. And so then the human's frustrated as well. And it's just sort of this vicious circle. But she was grumpy and attitudinal about a lot of things. And when you start looking at the food, she's eating, according to Chinese medicine, all of these hot proteins, lamb, chicken, venison, things of that nature.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't a healthy food to begin with, a lot of processed inflammatory type foods full of synthetic ingredients, 7-8 years of vaccines and flea and tick and yard chemicals and all of those things. So I sit down and I start talking to people about doing detox work, and they're like, we need training. And I'm like, yeah, but you need you need to really think about this. And so I kind of obviously put that into the longevity box, but we need training, is kind of where their mind keeps going to. And it's a hard switch to get them to make. And I'm like, can we at least do things simultaneously? We'll get the training going, but I also want you to do all this detox work. So I'll have them start the detox work a week or two before we begin training. Because if you call me today, you're not getting training tomorrow. It's just not going to happen.
Right.
Probably get a consult in, but I can't necessarily get you on the schedule that fast. Yeah. And so the point is, you start making these food changes and doing this detox work, and the dog is feeling better, right? That more energy, that weight loss, that inflammation. You can see the eyes. Obviously, I'm more attentive to eyes these days than I ever was, but I can even remember back when I first started as a trainer and had my kennel building, you could look at a dog and be like, you're not doing dog things, right? And your eyes are dark and they don't seem bright and happy, and they don't reflect light in the same way that some of these dogs will once we have sort of a clearing. Well, then that makes the training better, right? Because the dog is feeling better, they're moving better, they're able to learn more easily.
And they're excited about it because they feel better.
Exactly. And so we start the work. And when I have a reactive dog, I tell people we're not going for a walk for the first week. Your goal is to eliminate the walk and do the work. And a lot of that work is sort of the state of mind work. You can't fix the state of mind if it's on fire, right? And so we're hearing a lot more these days about the studies happening between gut health and brain health. And so when we start bringing down that inflammatory response that is not only in the gut, but is affecting how the brain fires, when we get those things improved, then the training works better. And so a dog now, because people are like, well, we got to get the exercise. I'm like, no, you need to do the mental work. And so having a healthier body actually affects anxiety and aggressive response and um, all that comes with that. And so I get a better dog to train and a better result, and frankly, a result that sticks longer if they stay with the food plan,
Yeah.
because we're not creating that inflammation and that discomfort in the body. And I think people can, um, if they think about this from their own point of view, if you eat healthy for a week, how does that make your body feel versus if you went and ate those
McDonald's every day.
for the next week or two? A lot of people, you go eat one fast food meal and you're like, whoa, right?
Hmm.
And so that is happening to your dog as well, but they've just learned to cope with it because that's all they get.
Yeah. Because we feed them the same thing every day for
Right.
years.
Exactly. So,
And
yeah,
some people are led to believe that you shouldn't change foods or proteins, that it's bad for them, and that couldn't be any further from the truth. That's how we create all these intolerances in our dogs.
exactly. I don't think people understand that we can't. So, a lot of people will call it an allergy, and really it's an intolerance. It's the body saying, I am too inflamed to deal with this, right? So, I'm going to expel it in some way: diarrhea, GI issues, things that look like allergies and skin conditions. And
Hmm.
so yeah, totally.
Yep.
But a healthy gut can transition to any protein or any veg, really. We don't have true allergies. We're not moving into anaphylactic shock, right?
Right.
We're having intolerance. We're having those things that make you feel bloated and uncomfortable and give you diarrhea, in the same way that if you were a non-greasy eater and you went and had fried fish down here at the local seafood shack, you're not going to feel good after having that meal.
Yeah. And you're probably going to have to race home to the bathroom.
Yeah. The same thing happens in the opposite direction, right? You move in
Yeah.
between greasy, rancid, sometimes over processed food from one category to the next. Be like going between McDonald's and Taco Bell, right? You're like, whoa, that did not feel. But when you start feeding in high quality foods that are healthy and balanced and the dog's getting all the nutrition, then simply changing a protein or a vegetable ingredient has no effect, in the same way that you and I don't eat the same meal every day.
Yeah. Yeah. I get bored. You can keep it. I don't want it. I just had that yesterday.
Right. And I've gotten, listen, I'm not the healthiest person on the planet when it comes to what I eat. I know that. But I have gotten to the point where if there are certain things that I eat and I'm like, and you almost have a craving for it. You're like, oh, that sounds good, because it's something that's reminiscent of your childhood or a past experience with friends or whatever. You're like, oh, I can't wait to try that or to have that. And you eat it. You're like, oh, that did not, that was not good. So, yeah. But anyway,
Um,
that particular dog, I convinced the people, and sometimes that's the hardest part, but the result was really quite positive. So, and it
and
started with the food bowl.
yeah. Have you followed up? Did they stick with it? Are they seeing like long-term positive
Yeah,
effects?
most people, so I can't tell you that everybody sticks with it, because sometimes they get a little lazy or a little not sure they believe it, and they may go back and then they're like, wait a minute, that what shifted. And the only thing shifted now was we went back to poor quality food, and we're
Yeah.
seeing some behavior issues again. And
Yep.
hopefully they go back, but yeah.
Yep. I thought of two good stories to tell. Um, One is a lab that I trained. I trained him several years ago. He was young when I trained him, like 10, 11 months. And he was getting into so much trouble. He had way too much energy. They couldn't teach him how to sit or down. He had no focus. And guess what he was eating? He was eating science diet because he always had soft, runny stools. And the vet said, here, you should feed him this. It will help. Well, he still had soft, runny stools when he came to me. And even with just switching from one kibble to a much better quality kibble. Huge improvements. Like the
Mhm.
dog trained beautifully. He doesn't have stomach issues anymore. He's mature. He can pay attention. He doesn't have he's got more than a gnat's size attention span. Like he's a good dog. Now he's raising a new puppy that they got. Like he's a really good boy. But I don't think had they not made those changes, he'd be where he is today. He would feel like crap and he would constantly have an upset stomach and not being able to focus because his body felt horrible.
Right. And those, maybe not that particular dog, but I've seen it where dogs that don't feel good, it's like, don't touch me.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
very
don't want to be around you.
aloof, like yeah, definitely.
Don't just, yeah. And so we look at that and go aggression, anxiety, whatever. And it may look like that, but the root cause is not, they're just, pardon my French, but asshole dogs. They don't feel good.
Yeah.
Feel great.
Yeah. Speaking of asshole dogs, that's my next story.
Right. We did not plan this, folks.
So,
We have no script.
a couple of years ago, I started working with a Jack Russell rescue. And one of the first dogs that came to me was he was about 12 or 13 pounds then. Optimal weight now, he's at 9 pounds. So, first, you've got the fact that here's a dog that's about 4 or 5 pounds overweight, and it's a small dog, so that's a lot.
Exactly.
He was overweight. He, get this, he had a 12-month Pro Heart injection.
Please don't do that.
I'm not going to say what brand, but he was eating a very not good brand of kibble. He uh, there was some other factors too, like he lived with a litter mate, so there were some things that were genuinely behavioral related as far as like sibling stuff goes. But his behavior was completely different than the litter mates. He was biting people.
Hmm.
He was the county that he came from before he got here, he was a convicted felon. He had 4 bites on record.
Wow.
He loved to bite people. He was grumpy. He didn't like anybody that he didn't know. Um, and just I don't know. I mean, they were going to euthanize him. And then the rescue said, "Hold on, we have a trainer that's willing to take him and work with him and, see what happens." So he comes here, and of course, the first thing we do is change the diet and we do a detox. And I did a series of diet changes. Now he's on a really good slow cooked. He's on raised right now, which is a wonderful quality food. But it was a progression of let's get him on a better kibble first because I didn't want to completely throw his world into disarray. I knew
Mhm.
we had to take things slow considering everything we were dealing with. But this little guy now, he's at optimal weight. He doesn't mind new people. I don't let him just run up to strangers and say hello, but he's not like growly and grumbly and saying, "Hey, I want nothing to do with you." He's happy. Enjoys the dogs that are here all the time. He stayed here. He's a permanent member of the family now. But it's because I saw such a change in him, and I just had this fear that he would go somewhere and regress if he went back to eating bad foods and not feeling well and not having good leadership. Like all of those, the behavior and the food and the environment, like everything makes a difference for these dogs. And it's just because he was gonna be put to sleep for behavioral euthanasia. And now he is happy and healthy and loves life. And that's the difference that 2 years and a lot of changes can make.
Right. And so for those listening, she's not saying she didn't do training.
Oh,
The
correct.
training was still there, but the training worked better because the food and the relationship of how his body felt to his ability to learn and understand and experience life changed.
But in the beginning, training worked as good as the leash is on and we're right here face to face, but it didn't translate to anything else. And now like his focus is good. He hears my voice. He says, "Oh, I better pay attention."
Listen, I've seen dogs that, and Bentley's one, right? Bentley was the first one that shifted all of this, but this dog looked like he had a learning disability. We did all the training. This was before I was doing food, right?
Yeah.
We
Yep.
did puppy preschool. We did group obedience. We did one-on-one lessons because I was 100% convinced it was mom's fault. She wasn't.
Wait, wasn't Bentley a Jack Russell too?
No, he was a little Shih Tzu.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. And so when none of that worked, I'm like, bring him to me to stay with me, not just in the kennel facility that I had at the time, but in my home.
Yeah.
And with the other dogs that I had, and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, he was with me for a couple of weeks and I could not fix it.
It was just a disconnect.
Yeah, he wanted to bite. He was grumpy. You tell him to come, he'd flip you off. You tell him to sit, he'd, like, I'm not doing it.
Yep.
And I thought, I've never seen a dog with what I would call a learning disability, but I'm convinced Bentley has one. Right? He just can't learn. And so I was thinking about telling his mother, where are we going from here? And I'm like, this is just kind of who he is, because I had no other options that I knew of that were awareness to me. And then I remember pulling out notebooks from a conference that I had attended, where Wendy Volhard was talking about Chinese medicine, hot proteins, and proteins was the first thing on the radar when I was learning.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at Bentley's food, because they just send you, at the time they would send it in little zippy bags to me. And I went and pulled out the notes and I said, what actually is this dog eating? And it was venison, very hot protein, very low in fat, the whole thing. And I'm like, maybe that's the problem. So I convinced his mother, his owner, to take him to a holistic veterinarian in Charlotte. Because I said, I can't prove this. I can't, at that time, I'm like, I can't advise you on a different diet. I didn't know enough about any of it at the time.
Yeah.
And I said, but I think this is a clue. I think this is part of what we're dealing with. And the veterinarian was like, yeah, I agree. Let's change him to a white fish, a cooling protein. 3 days. In 3 days, the training turned on for this dog.
Wow.
I mean, it was unbelievable to see, right? That it's like, you tell him to sit, and he did. You call him to come, and he came over. I'm like, so he was learning it. He just couldn't do it.
Couldn't do it. Yeah. Literally, his brain was on fire.
Literally, his brain was on fire. So he was hearing, he was understanding the consequences and the what I'm supposed to do. It just didn't click. It's like it was just shut off. And all of a sudden, it's like you could see clearing in his face, in his eyes, in just, you think about seeing people who are puffy and swollen. It's kind of that whole thing. All of it changed. It's like everything changed when there was less heat in this dog's body. And he was wonderful. But I mean, to just watch the light switch flip was astonishing to me.
Now I can understand why that made everything fall together for you to be where you are now.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So when you hear us talk about the 5 elements, right? And every time we move into the season, I'll post, we're in the season of metal, we're moving to the season of water in December, right? And so in there are noted behavior for a dog who has too much of this particular element or too little, you will see these behavioral functions, for lack of a better word, right? You'll see these things that you may think are quirky or are just who they are at their core, but it could be driven by the fact that they are in excess of heat or in excess of being cold, that they can never warm up.
Mm-hmm.
Or the others are dampness and dryness, right? And so when we see dry skin, that's a clue. When we see brains that don't seem to learn well, is it they're on fire, right? It all matters. So don't dismiss. I mean, when we share these posts with you guys or these topics with you guys, it's because we've seen it. We know it. It's not just pie in the sky stuff. It's stuff that if you really put the dots together and you think about this relative to your dog, it will be a clue to changes you need to make that will affect their health, their behavior, intolerances, quirky behaviors, longevity. It all matters.
And I would be willing to throw the word development to that list too. I had a dog come here. She was about 10 months old for training. She hadn't had a heat cycle yet. She was through the roof, like just wild. N No focus, didn't care about anything, and just you could tell like, whew, you're gonna be a lot. And we got her, she was still eating puppy food, puppy kibble at 10 months old.
Because somebody
Which
told her she was little and needed.
yeah, that's like giving a 2-year-old a whole bag of M&Ms. Like,
Right.
stop and think about what you're doing. So and this was, I wasn't doing a lot with raw feeding or anything like that at this point. But I was still very much like I was already on the board of kibble there's different levels of kibble. So we got her off of puppy food onto an all life stages, and there's where we saw immediate changes. She went into heat like a month after we changed her food. Like her body was like, okay, I know what I'm supposed to be doing now. I'm not eating 4 cups of puppy food a day. So
Mhm.
even little changes like that, like pay attention to the protein, the carbs, like all of that matters, even beyond quality.
Right. Carbs are a big deal too. And I see that a lot in the dogs that people describe as out of control,
Yeah, that was this dog.
right? That she's crazy. She never settles down. She's bouncing off the wall. Yeah, out of control. And I had a dog like that one time. Her name was Penzy, Penzy, and I called her Frenzy.
That's funny. This dog was Kinsey.
Well, there you go. It was chaos,
Yeah.
complete chaos. And you brought out food, and she would jump and slap the bowl out of your hand, and it would scatter everywhere. So
Oh my gosh.
well, I wised up, right? So I had a bowl, put like 2 kibbles in it because that's what she, again, before I knew about food. Um, put 2 in it, and she when she hit it, she's like, "What do you mean that's all there?" And my rule became, as a result of her, you bark at me, your feet leave the ground, you in any way demand that I put a food bowl down, it's gone
Oh
until
yeah.
scheduled feeding, unless your butt is sick, right? If you're an unhealthy dog that requires diabetics, of course, we would never do that, right? But anyway, I see a lot of foods, and hers was one where it's probably 65% carbohydrate.
Mm-hmm.
A 2-year-old with a bag of M&Ms, what we're
Yep.
feeding them, right? So when we started changing all of that, we also moved into the cooling protein category. But we took away all those carbs. The chaos was gone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This
Yes.
dog ended up having the ability we trained her to be off leash.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and that would have never happened had we not made those changes.
Right. Yeah. So in no way are we saying training is not necessary if you want an obedient dog or off leash dog, or to know that if they run out in the front yard and you say come back, that they do. You have to train those things for everybody. But there are dogs who cannot get it because the food they're feeding doesn't fuel them properly, doesn't help them learn. In fact, it may inhibit their learning. So I can't help but wonder how many dogs land in shelters. We know it's gazillions because they're out of control. They're untrainable. And
Yep.
all we need is a food change.
Yep. Well, and then you think too, like people go to the shelter to look for dogs, and the dogs are going out of their minds, barking and jumping and acting like fools. But guess what kind of food gets donated to shelters?
The cheapest. And I get it. Listen, I understand, and I'm in no way bashing shelters and rescue groups, but it's not doing any favors for the process.
Yeah. I wish I knew then what I know now when I was doing rescue, and it was pit bull rescue. So you're already dealing with a social stigma against just the way the dog looks, but then you have these shelter dogs that are, wild and out of control. And we didn't know anything about training. That's what actually where my training journey started was like, I've got to help these dogs be adoptable. But I wish I knew then about doing all of the nutrition things first and doing the detoxes because it's so important. I could have changed the lives of so many dogs.
Yeah. Well, you did.
I
You did,
did.
sure. So I guess the takeaway for people is when we say food first, these are parts of the reasons why we say that. I get calls all the time of my dog has whatever intolerance or GI issue or allergy or whatever. Those are pretty easy to have the nutrition discussion. Call me about aggression or anxiety. I'm still going to talk to you about nutrition.
Oh, yeah.
Pushing back even further on many clients and saying, if you don't at least upgrade their kibble, if you don't at least get the carb count down or the protein changed, you don't get to hire me. I can't make you go raw. I can't make you make homemade food.
Yeah.
But please,
But do better.
yeah, please hear me when I say we got to get to white fish and not lamb. Think about the fish that flows and nice and eat, and the lamb that's like right. That's how Chinese medicine works. Is how does that animal live? Drives the type of fuel that's created in your body, mine, and the dog's. Right.
Yep.
That's why we're having conversations with training clients about nutrition.
If only it were, we have to skywrite it. Maybe we need to hire one of those planes that goes back and forth across the beach.
Maybe that's what I need. Change your dog's food.
And to like I don't want to I don't mean this as in we need to put the pet food industry out of business, but if word spread and people understood and more people were willing to make changes, the better foods would be more affordable.
Yeah,
They wouldn't be so novel.
right.
I
Yeah.
did talk to Gouda and I went to visit one of the local pet boutiques here in town. They've taken care of us way back when we did rescue. They've always been good friends and she hadn't seen Gouda for a while, so we went to visit last week. And she was saying that this has been her worst year ever for sales. 'Cause only carries like the higher end kibbles because people want it. She carries dehydrated products, some raw products. She's got some freezer space. But she was just saying that because two things, people are getting more stuff delivered now than they ever have before, but a
Yeah.
lot of it is not kibble. Like people are getting your slow cooked and your raw foods and stuff. And so kibble sales are down a lot.
Mhm.
She's transitioning to more of those type foods to try to, reel in the business.
Yeah. Yeah. I get it. There's still a hesitancy out there that obviously we all wish we could resolve and understand. So if you're listening to this and you have opinions about why you haven't explored it, or you have a dog that you're curious, could it help? Just reach out and let us know. We'd love to just.
Yeah. Or if you're 100% against it, why? Like, what did you hear? What, man, I've heard some things.
Right.
Oh,
So
I've heard so. Oh, don't feed raw. Your dog will get salmonella. Okay, well, people foods have more recalls than raw pet foods do.
so I got one the other day. We were talking about changing to a freshly cooked diet, and they were all in to make the food because she's like, I love to cook and blah blah blah. And I'm like, you can totally do this. It's not a big deal. So then a couple days later, I get this message that says, oh, if I'm not feeding her kibble, how am I going to clean her teeth?
Okay, how'd that conversation go?
I'm like, with a raw meaty bone, right? Kibble does not. And so here's what I said to her. I'm like, when's the last time your dog threw up? You plant that seed, right? And not that the timing even matters. I said, but every time, do you ever see chewed kibble? Do you ever see it come out and look different than it went in? She said, well,
If you
no.
got a dog that chews their kibble, I want to
No,
meet
that you
them.
mentioned. I'm like, there's no dog out there that chews their kibble. They just inhale it.
Yep.
And then it takes the body to pull all this moisture from everywhere else in the body to hydrate that dry kibble enough to start to digest.
Mm-hmm.
We call that organ robbing, which has its own issues with how the body feels, how the body
Yeah.
functions.
Yep.
Even the frequency at which you feed kibble is different than the frequency at which we feed fresh or raw, and how quickly it digests and leaves the gut health, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So if I feed kibble 3 times a day, I am turning on the digestive system at the beginning 3 times a day. So now I've got food in different cycles of the digestive system all day long.
All day
The
long.
system never rests.
And it's pulling energy from all those other parts of the body that aren't getting optimal function, like the brain.
Like,
Yeah.
exactly. So,
I um I had to take Gouda to the emergency hospital one time. And their intake, they're like, "Oh, what do they eat?" All this. And I told them what she eats. I can't make it up. They came back in the room with gloves on, and she was flagged because she is a raw food eater. I'm like, you've got to be
get out of
kidding me right now.
town. That had to be many years ago.
No, this was last year. Last year at the emergency vet here in town when she had the vestibular attack. They literally put a note on her chart, this dog eats raw, wear gloves.
Because they're worried about bacteria.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Not about my dog who is in major distress because her brain's working, but she can't figure out why her body's not working. She's
Right.
panicking, and you're gonna put gloves on and disassociate yourself from her when what she needs is comfort. That just
Sorry, but
disgusts
that's
me.
just lack of education on the folks in that venue.
Well, I won't say names, but I will say I'll never go back there.
Wow.
That just, I mean, look how healthy my dog is. You think you need to wear gloves around her, really?
That's crazy.
That did it for me.
Yeah. And so, I mean, there are a lot of myths out there. There are a lot of myths,
Yeah.
a lot of misunderstandings and lack of real awareness of what's true and what's not. I mean, we believe kibble cleans teeth. We believe that we're not going to get salmonella from kibble. We believe we can't get E. coli from kibble. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
So
No, I've seen bags of kibble with mold in them. You can't tell me people. You can't. I'll never, I'll never stand on that side of the fence.
no, me either. And I've seen rancid food. You open it and you're like, oh my God, that smells terrible.
Yes.
And I mean, we could go down this path in a whole lot of directions, but you go home and you put your kibble in a lovely little plastic container, a little storage container. Well, let's talk about plastics.
Yes, introduce it to forever chemicals because that's going to make it better.
Let's talk about what happens when you put plastic in the microwave with your spaghetti sauce. The same thing is happening. You're just not seeing the evidence of it in your little plastic storage container. And then you buy a new bag and you put on top of that. Guess what's happening? It's getting rancid. It's molding. It's doing all sorts of things that will now infiltrate the whole little storage container.
Yep. I mean, and the bags actually say store in this bag, but I don't know at what point people started dumping it into the containers.
Yeah, absolutely. Because somebody needed a cute little thing in their pantry.
Oh yeah, it's got paw prints on it.
Exactly right.
I have those here, but I put the client's whole bag of kibble inside of it. I don't dump it out of the bag. The bag fits in there too.
Yeah. So, all right. Any parting words of wisdom?
Words of wisdom. Ask questions. And
Challenge everything.
if someone tells you something and you just don't feel like that seems right, ask someone else and ask someone else.
Yeah.
There's a lot of information out there that hasn't been shared enough yet.
Right. Our next topic, I think we're going to be talking about why we question people so much when they ask a question, because the question they're asking is not the right one.
Mm-hmm.
Right. We'll explain that later. But I was talking to someone this week and they were asking a question in a lot of different places and getting a lot of different answers. And nobody stepped back and said, when did this start? How long is it? You know, we didn't wrap our arms around the whole animal and look at the big picture. And they were on a path that was making things worse.
Yep.
Anyway, that's coming up next. So you all have a lovely day.
Yes. And happy Thanksgiving, listeners.
Yeah, you may not listen to this at Thanksgiving time, but it may be 4th of July next year when you hear this, but we're still here. Call us.
Thanks for listening to Dogsplaining. We know you've got a lot of choices when it comes to dog advice. We appreciate you trusting us to keep it honest and helpful.
If today's episode helped you understand your dog's needs more clearly, share it with someone who may also need to hear it. And don't forget to follow or subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
For more resources, visit us online or join the conversation in our community. We'll be back soon with more insight into your dog's behavior, health, and wellness. Questions welcome, and we love guests.
Until then, keep listening to Dogsplaining.